welcome to my second video on spontaneous watercolor. I thought I would do another one right away and see if I can learn from some of the things I did in my first one. So today I want to just do a quick painting of something I've already kind of thought of. I wanted to try a more mountainy scene in this one. So I don't always go into a spontaneous painting thinking like this is what I want it to look like or have a plan. But with this one, I somewhat have an idea in my head that I want mountains in the background and some kind of meadow or something in the foreground. So, but yeah, we'll see what happens when the watercolor is applied to the paper. Okay, so I'm going to start my color wash. I'm using Payne's Gray, Ultramarine Blue, Alzerian Crimson, and Yellow Ochre on this painting. And you'll also see that from blending, I'll get some purples and some greens that will show up in the painting as well. I'm working on the mountains, and I'm using all these colors to give shadowy effects to create multiple mountains in this mountain range back there. Really the shading helps with that. Now in the foreground, I'm working on a meadow. That's what the yellow ochre is creating this meadow. And again, I knew I wanted a mountain and meadow, but I didn't know exactly how it was going to play out yet. So I'm just putting paint on to see what happens. The dark in the front could be rocks, it could be cliffs, I don't know yet. And then I'm going to splatter some water here in just a minute with my paintbrush to create water droplets on the painting. And I do that to get these spots that help to create some texture in the painting itself. Okay, I let it dry and now I'm adding the second layer. This is Payne's Gray that is going on to just help accentuate the edges of the mountains so we can see the range better. And now I'm also adding more to the meadow. I want to be able to see that there's layers here, right? When you're looking at a landscape, there's often various layers that you are observing, and so we have the rock layer I'm working on right now. I decided those would be rocks, and I'm using paper towels to kind of wipe away some paint. It's a little trick to highlight. And then thinking back at the mountains, I decided to put some little tree clusters in the mountains. Again, that helps us to see the ridges better, and that's kind of what mountains look like, right? You got clusters of vegetation growing. So I put those in there. And I decided that this tree line, I needed to do some more to the tree line to make it actually look like a tree line. So I'm adding a olive green color that I mixed my colors together to come up with that to accentuate the trees, and then just adding more details to these rock clusters. I really didn't want it to look like they're sitting in water. It might have that effect, but again, it's just subtle. You just want a hint that there's rocks there. Okay, so I also added some speckles. You may have seen that go on there. Just again, I think it gives some movement to the painting. I decided that the tree line and the meadow were too starkly, it was contrasted, and so I gone back on top of the dry paint, and I'm adding darker paint to create shadow, to create some depth in there, to help the tree line blend a little better into the meadow. I'm doing some what's called painting in the negative space there, so trying to think of the darkness that might be within the forest, within the trees, and just darkening some things up there so it's not so bright. And then, yeah, you can see that I'm using my fine liner paintbrush to add just little details around the edges. I'm going to work on these rocks a little bit to bring out the edges on those, make them look a little more rocky, and yeah, around the trees. So just a lot of fine detail work. Oh yeah, I decided to add rocks within the meadows. So that's what I'm doing right now, is painting subtle hints of rock formations that might be in the meadow itself. Again, it just keeps it from being so, it was just too bright for me right there. It needed more, it was a little flat. So going back in and doing these rocks, I think helps again to make it a little bit more realistic. But you also want to still leave some of it to the imagination. We don't paint every detail in the painting. And here's the finished product. I really enjoyed painting this one. I like doing the mountains. This was the first mountain scene that I've done, and I love the dark and the shadows and playing with the paint. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.